I'm honestly a little afraid to tell this story. It was one of the scariest moments in my life, and I still don't have a full explanation for it. I was a lot younger at the time. Now, as an adult, when I asked my parents, they also don't entirely know. So some of these memories are a bit foggy because this did happen around maybe the time I just turned 12. But what I do remember is that it's the one time I felt terrified, and I looked to my parents and they seemed even more afraid than I was. I do want to tell this story because it is the time to tell scary stories. This is absolutely real. So I'm going to be changing a few details. I don't want anyone tracking anything down because it feels like the people involved are perhaps dangerous. So we were visiting my grandma, and it was her birthday, which is in December. It's very cold where she lives, but my mom wanted to take her kind of last minute somewhere special, like a getaway for her birthday. However, she hadn't really planned anything. And the night before, she's like, okay, wait, I have an idea. The hotels up in this area are really cheap. We're going to go there. We're going to have a great time. The area that she booked the hotels is on the water, and it's super popular in the springtime, in the summer, even into the fall. But it is really the dead of winter, and it was honestly just going to be super chilly and windy. Nobody ever vacationed there at this time. But my mom decides that's perfect because we get a good deal. And she's one of those people that's really proud of like swimming in ice cold water. It could not be me, but she really likes that. And my grandma was down for it. And off we went to what we thought was going to be a cute little fun beach holiday in the freezing cold. Number one mistake. So we drive up there. It's pretty long, maybe a 4 or even 5-hour drive. I live in the US. We do these things, I know, inconceivable to the European mind. But I remember specifically as we get there, there are only 2 other cars in the parking lot. One is like in an employee parking space, so only one seemed like a guest. And as we get in, those people are leaving. In the lobby, there's a very friendly man there. And there's a little basket that has fresh baked cookies. He gives me and my sister each a fresh baked cookie. He has somebody help us take our bags to the room, but we just leave them there and immediately go outside because we're afraid it's going to get dark soon. And my mom wanted to check out the beach, check out the water before it was like the dead of night. So we go outside and we walk around the back of the hotel. This part I cannot explain. So it was just like a beachfront with hotels. So there is really no way for this to have happened. But I suddenly can't find my family. They were with me outside one second. I turn around, they're gone the next. I think I might have talked about this in another video, but even at this age, when I just turned 12, I would get really, really scared that I was gonna get kidnapped or something. So I was like, oh my gosh, where are they? And I couldn't see them, even though it was just a straight, clear line. I could see down the beach. I was confused. I was yelling their names. I didn't hear anything. I didn't see anything. And so because I didn't want to get kidnapped on this totally empty beach, I walk back around to the front of the hotel. The same friendly front desk guy is there, and I tell him, hey, I don't understand this, but my family just disappeared. I can't find them. Do you mind calling them? Because I had a cell phone, but it was a very restricted cell phone. All I could do was call my parents, and because I was going to be with my parents on this trip, I just didn't even bring it, and I brought my laptop instead. So he goes over to his phone. He tells me, okay, what's the number? I say 303, and he stops me. He goes, well, what's the area code? And I go, oh, sorry. We're actually from Colorado, so that's our area code. He goes, okay, so the number? And I go 303. And then he once again says, what's the area code? This was just really confusing to me, really weird. So I'm like, is he trying to joke with me? Again, I say 303. And then he goes, what's the area code? I say 3, what's the area code? What's the area code? What's the area code? And he's repeating it and repeating it again without even giving me time. And again, I'm like, we are from Colorado. And he just says it over and over. It was so bizarre. And then he stops. He just snaps out of it because my parents walk in the front. And they were like, where did you go? You just suddenly disappeared. We couldn't find you. And I tell them, I don't know, that happened to me too. And suddenly this guy is totally friendly again. And he's like, how was the beach? Did you like it? And my mom tells him, yeah, I think it was good. I think that we can swim in the water even though it's the winter. But we don't have any swimsuits. Do you know of a place in town where we can buy swimsuits? So he tells us that there's only one shop that's open. Everything else is closed. And we have to go to that shop and they will have stuff for us. I don't know what happened in the shop because I was somebody who was refusing to swim in subterranean temperatures. I waited in the car with my dad. They're in there for a little while and then they come out and they're just very, very frustrated. They're like, everything in there is like at least $50. Like there's no cheap swimsuit. And this is definitely like some kind of boutique store. Not only that, but the woman in there was really, really pushy. And while we were leaving, she was telling us that we can't find swimsuits anywhere else. And so either it's her or nothing. So I just said nothing. So I guess maybe we're not swimming. However, she did recommend us a restaurant and like maybe we should just go there to like celebrate your grandma's birthday. So we agree and we drive to the restaurant. The restaurant is attached to a different hotel, a much bigger hotel, but still there's not that many people there. I would say we were maybe one of 4 families in this very, very large hotel restaurant. And while we were there, I told my mom what happened before. Like, I don't know how to explain this, but he just kept repeating the same word. I don't know if he was trying to make fun of me. I don't know what was going on, but it really, really creeped me out. My mom then is like, that's really weird. He seemed normal. Then she points out it was really weird that he said that that was the only place that was open with swimsuits. Because I'm looking at maps on my phone right now, and I'm actually seeing that there's like a Walmart pretty close to here that is open. We're just kind of gossiping, talking about like, is this guy a weirdo? Is he not? What was kind of wrong with the lady in the swimsuit shop? Like, I guess she was super pushy. And after we order, the waiter says something really weird. And I hate that I can't remember what it was. It was something along the lines of, oh, you know, he'll be hearing about this. And we were just really confused. He's like, oh, the guy that runs your hotel. I don't let people talk about him like this without him knowing. And we're like, what the heck? And things, I don't know how to explain it, just felt very, very weird. And my mom just gets like the hunch that we have to leave. And the thing is, we go on quite a lot of trips, honestly, to a lot of weird places, like lots of weird motels, but we've never just been like, we have to go. However, my mom is like, I think we just need to leave. We haven't even used the rooms. We just put our bags in the rooms. And there was some kind of policy, and I think she may have been in the wrong, but you could cancel your reservation within 24 hours of booking, but you also couldn't cancel 24 hours before booking. And like my mom literally booked it the night before. So we were in this weird window of like, yes, it has been less than 24 hours since we booked, but that inherently is 24 hours before our booking. I don't know. So she heads back and she's gonna try to like just get us out of there because the vibes are weird. I don't know. I wish I could explain this better, but there was something very, very wrong. And it's confirmed because right after she left, the waiter tells us that like, oh, he knows she's gonna be on her way. It's my grandma's birthday dinner, but we're all just eating in like a very quiet, hushed tones under our breath. Like, let's try not to talk about this because they're like telling us that they're communicating with this hotel guy. Eventually we finish eating and my mom calls us and she's like, oh, this is a whole mess. I've been fighting with him back and forth. And she's telling me like, Loie, you really messed this up for us. I'm like, what the heck? She comes back to pick us up and she's like, I'm gonna drive back to the hotel. You have to explain to him what happened because I don't get it. And apparently what he's telling her is he can't give us a refund, not because of the 24-hour policy, but because when they were out on the beach, I came back in and I ate every cookie in his basket, which just isn't true. I don't think I had time to do that, but also I was just trying to get in contact with my parents. I thought they'd been like swept out to sea or something. Like I just really was not in that mode. Instead, I was trying to dial a number and he was being all like Halloween monster on me. I don't know. We go back there and she's like, my daughter said she didn't eat any cookies, and he just starts yelling at me and I am just so terrified. And then he's also telling us that like we already slept in the beds, we already used the toilet, etc. But we really didn't. Like the person just helped us bring our bags up. We opened the room and we left. We didn't even use the bathroom. We were immediately outside because it was winter and the sun was about to set. So my mom goes, you know what? I just don't feel comfortable staying here. I don't care about the refund. Let's just get our bags and go. And again, I'm unclear about the specifics here, but for some reason, he isn't allowing us access back into our rooms. I think maybe because my mom threatened to call and get like a refund on her credit card, but he's like, you no longer have the rooms anyway, but our bags were in there. And they were just going back and forth. And eventually my mom's like, you guys need to get in the car. This is really scary. So me, my sister, and my grandma waited in the car while they just yelled back and forth. And finally, after honestly many hours, I do remember that. I remember being like, oh God, I wish I had my phone with me. They finally come out with our bags and they're like running and they put them in the car and they're like, we just need to go. We need to go. So we're driving out of this town that really seems like, at the very least, everyone's connected. But I think what was happening was that this guy owned a lot of the businesses that were open in the winter. I think he was trying to direct us to the swimsuit shop place, and then she was directing us to another thing owned by him. And I think it was this whole weird ecosystem. But the energy was just so strange, like so strange. Like I promise you, we've had like neighbors point guns at us and the energy was never this weird. We just start driving back home again, like through the woods, which is how you get up here. And after maybe like a good 40 minutes of driving, my mom asked my dad, has that same motorcycle been behind us this whole time? And he's like, oh, I don't know. And so we're all just kind of looking at it. And my mom's like, I just feel a little weird. Let's pull off like to a rest stop. Like we're not even going to get out of the car. Just stay in the car, guys. We go off. We go to a rest stop. We sit in a parking space for a little bit. And then we go on and keep driving. And soon enough, we see that singular light behind us again. This is not a very like busy road during the winter. And we are just terrified. Have you guys ever been followed through the darkness? I don't really know how to put into words how terrifying this is, but it honestly was one of the scariest things that legitimately has ever happened to me. We continue driving, and I will say at about the 3-hour mark, we've pulled off to a gas station, we pulled off to a rest stop. There's still a singular light behind us. So my mom's like, you know what? We're getting into a city. Let's try to lose him. So we go to a like super Walmart, like 24-hour Walmart. And I remember they drop us all off to like just go right into the entrance of the store, and they park and then they walk in themselves. They were very careful to tell us like, don't talk about this guy following us. Don't talk about anything. I don't know if he's in this store. It sounds like paranoid behavior, but this was never a thing that we ever went through. In fact, it was almost usually the opposite. Like somebody was being weird and they never really took it seriously enough. So we shop around in Walmart for about an hour and we get back in the car, and luckily the motorcycle light behind us has disappeared. I think we have maybe an hour and a half left to our drive. By the time we get home, it is definitely super the middle of the night. I just remember my mom like being like, run, like everybody run into the house because I need to lock the doors immediately. I don't know where he could be. I don't know what's going on. And we never went back up there again. I'm sure it's a totally fine, normal place in the normal months. But sometimes when there's a very niche group of people somewhere, especially out of season, I might be a little careful to not make them angry. I don't know if we were in any legitimate danger, but I don't know why somebody would follow us for so long if they didn't intend on doing something. I want to know if anybody else has had like a weird occurrence at an off-season kind of vacation area. I think this is kind of like an untapped area of horror, but I feel like I don't often see enough movies about like, oh, we're on the beach, but it's winter. What the heck's gonna happen? Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. I will say that most of my viewers are not subscribers, so I really want to help connect you to my content, and I hope you enjoyed my scary real life experience. Thank you. Bye.